vlogs. Today's Tuesday. Now, before I take my YouTube break, that might consist of maybe 2 or 3 days, because I don't want to have a burnout, and hopefully when we get to the next month, which is July, the gym's open back up, because I gotta write the script to the first episode of my fitness level at Planet Fitness and 24-hour fitness, and what are the difference and similarities, because I did add some new channels. This one's not my sports channel. This one's going to be talking about another one. I had an idea for this one, and it's not easy trying to get to July. It's not. It's still June, so I guess we could drop the video in June. This one's going to be about African-American black women and being supermodels. I did one for Victoria's Secret, and that one was because I wanted to see how well it would do. But this one actually will blow that one out of the water. Now we got 10. So I'm going to call this one Sex Game, the sexiest black top 10 models of all times. We're talking about 10 of the absolute best, past, present, and currently. The reason why I'm doing it is because a lot of people say that black men here on YouTube and the black sector do not promote black women's beauty enough. And there are plenty of black men who have made literally hundreds or hundred thousands of videos showing their gratitude towards black women. But there's some people who say I'm a popular YouTuber and I don't do it at all, or I don't do it enough. So that's what today's video is. But before I start today's video, there are 2 black people that I have to give a shout out. I made a new rule. For now on, when I do some of these newer future video projects, anyone who stops me in person, whether it's Beverly Hills, Century City, Santa Monica, Hollywood, The Grove, or just in a regular area, you will get a shout out. A shout out means I'll say hi, and then less than 24 hours, it might be 3 days, it might be 5 days, it could be a week. Eventually, you will get shouted out in the very next video. So if you don't get shouted out in today's video, maybe in the next 2 or 3 videos, you will get shouted out. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, young or old, black or white, you will get shouted out. You show me some respect, I show you some respect back in return. Now, you ain't got to say, hi, what's up, Alex, or what's up, Alexander. I don't expect everybody to say that. Just a simple smile and a simple hi, how you doing, and you'll get shouted out back in return. Some people will get it, and some people it might take longer, but you will get the shout out. Doesn't matter if you're a past co-worker, a current co-worker, you will get shouted out. It's a new thing I'm trying out. Usually most YouTubers do it. Well, I'm doing it. People behind the scenes told me maybe you might have tried this new concept, so it seems like it's working. Now, will it last long? I don't know. I probably say I give it by November. Then we'll see if it's gonna stay long term. Then every single year after this, we'll probably try that. So if that's okay with you, let's try this concept. Now, first person I got to give a shout out to is this black guy. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of promise. He has a great, bright future ahead of him. He was riding this bicycle. I guess he likes my YouTube videos. So I want to say thank you to the guy that was riding the bicycle. I really appreciate. Somebody let me know if I did a good job in my videos or not. So he gave me some good constructive criticism. He looks like Lil Yachty the rapper. I mean that in a respectful, good way. He was riding the bicycle. He shot me out. I shot him back out. And I'm doing it on camera to let him know that I acknowledged him. Because some people think that when you get acknowledged, they think you're stuck up. They think you're better than everybody. And they think you don't acknowledge where you come from. So, thank you. I acknowledge homeboy riding the bike. He looks like Lil Yachty. If he knows it or not, he probably could make a music video of him riding that bicycle and then write out his lyrics while riding that bicycle. That might be a good idea for him to do a YouTube video. I'm just saying he got some potential. He may not have been told that, but you're being told by me you got some potential. The second person I want to give a shout out to is this older black lady who might be in her late 30s, early 40s, very nice, very respectful. I think she lived probably in this area. She saw me yesterday. She smiled and said hi, so I know she wants the shout out. So you're getting shouted out. Thank you for smiling, and thank you for saying have a good day. So a black man got a shout out. Yeah, a very young black man that's from the age of 18 to 27. So I shouted out a black man riding on this bicycle. Got a lot of promise. Got a bright future ahead of him. Keep up the good work. Stay out of trouble, and you'll get more future shout outs. And we had a black woman. So we had one black man and one black woman, and they both got shout outs in this video. So for people to be saying, oh man, he don't care about his people, that's one black man, one black woman 24 hours ago who saw my videos. They got shouted out. Respect is respect. Now let's get on with the YouTube video. Now, at number 10 is Jerzen Brazila. Sorry if I butcher the whole entire name, but if you don't know who I'm talking about, all you do is gotta type up the Jamie Foxx television show. You know that girl that plays Fancy as his girlfriend on the television show? She is very physically sexually attractive. I mean, for a woman who's black and Haiti. Like, she's very, very beautiful and attractive. Very tall, very good looking. Even for a woman that's in her 50s, she still has this glow in her face. I know, because I've seen her once. I used to work at the Grove once upon a time, and I had got a haircut, and she looked at me and smiled, and a lot of people say she all stuck up. That's not really true. Because if that was the case, she would have not acknowledged me at all. And she was in the movie called Spider-Man Homecoming, that very first Spider-Man film where she played the mother and Michael Keaton was the father. Yeah, she was in Spider-Man Homecoming. The reason why I mentioned Jamie Foxx television show is because she was playing Fancy. That's what she's known for, the character of Fancy. She's been in other movies. I mean, before she became an actress in television and film, she was once upon a time a model. She left from where she came from, the United States, and that's how they found out that women from Haiti are very physically, sexually attractive. You know, because at first, people didn't know what to think. She did modeling for at least 4 years before she thought about acting. So that's why you got to have her on the list. Coming in at number 9 is a girl named Donyale Luna. Sorry if I pronounced the name, but she's actually African descent, and I think she traveled back and forth from Great Britain and United Kingdom to Detroit, Michigan. Now, she was like, I think, the first ever African American woman model to appear on 2 different magazines at the same time. There was In Vogue, then there was the United Kingdom, but at the time they called it the British In Vogue magazine, and she appeared on there in the late 1960s. You know, she's like 6'2", and at that time she broke the barrier because at that time they didn't really want no black women trying to break into the modeling business, and she was either the second or the third woman in history to be a African American model and come into the game and say, all right, I'm kicking ass, I'm taking names. Now, there were some challenges. There was some discrimination in commercials, movies, television shows. She eventually got into the movies, the television shows. You know, later in the 70s, they put her in the Jet magazine. You know, there's history with that Jet magazine. A lot of those women would appear on those Jet magazines. I mean, at the time, I wasn't born yet, but back when my dad was a little kid, in that era, he kind of saw all of that. Like, the only time that you would see a woman that was good looking was in that type of magazine. There were challenges. There was the fame, there was the fortune, there was the money, the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll. That was a challenge for her. And at that time, it was difficult because she was making less money while everyone else was making more money. And it's just a shame, a disappointment that nobody really looks at her career and say, yeah, she was one of the legends. She was one of the greats. You know, she was tall. She was 6'2". At that time, they never had nobody that tall. There was always 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet. When they found somebody 6'2", there was like, at that time, that was the highest record at the time. Now, there was someone years later that came in at 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", like some 30 years later. But at that time, for almost like 20 years, almost to like 2 decades, at that time, 6'2" was like the tallest in history before other women came in. So that's the thing people fail to understand. Coming in at number 8 is Beverly Johnson. Now, you all know who Beverly Johnson is because of the television show that she was on. She was like on 2 or 3 different family-oriented television shows. They came in those late 70s, early 80s, mid 1990s, but she actually broke and did modeling. And basically, she had a promising career. Like, there was Tyra Banks, and then there's the girl that kind of like was Tyra Banks before there was Tyra Banks. Like, all the stuff you see Tyra Banks did, she had done it, but it's one of those things where you come first, but nobody really gives you the respect and credit you deserve. And it was very disappointing for her because everything Tyra Banks did, she did too. It just, it was just that time period where they go, well, Tyra did this, Tyra did that, and she kind of looked at Tyra and said she wished she could have had the same career she had because she opened the doors for a lot of these girls to come in and do what they did. Because my mom was doing modeling. Okay, I was a little kid. I told you guys in that last video of Victoria's Secrets, I was a little kid and I saw like almost 100,000 women outside the door with their resume, their portfolio, their photos. I thought they were gonna do Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles. I'm telling you. So if y'all laugh and spit out your Coca-Cola, your Pepsi, your 7-Up, your Sprite, nobody drinks Sierra Mist, your apple, orange juice, apple juice, coffee or tea or water, I actually thought that they were going to audition for Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles. That's what I actually thought. Because I was a little kid, I was bored, and I wanted to go home and watch Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, and my mom was a model. And her name came up in the conversation because they said my mom looked like a cross between Beverly Johnson but resembled Tyra Banks because of how tall my mom was. So when people be like, where I get my height from, I guess if you see a picture of me and my mom, you can tell my mom was tall. That's why I'm tall. But the point is, that's why she's on this list. And she kind of did pass the torch to the next generation. So it's nice to see that. Coming in at number 7 is Iman. Now, this is a woman that was way before everybody's time. She came in the mid-1980s, early 1990s. She was around when they had Donatella Versace. And there's that famous fashion designer that tragically lost his life in the 1990s. That he was a big inspiration to the fashion world and to modeling. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And he would do a lot of their fashion clothes. He would take all the world's top models and he would basically be a mentor to all of them. And in a way, he kind of enhanced her career because everyone talks about Tyra Banks, everybody talks about Naomi Campbell, but nobody talks about Ahmad. Ahmad is very physically sexually attractive for a woman that's in her 50s, okay? When you look at her, you can't even tell that she's 50. She still looks like she's in her 30s and still in athletic shape. Yes, she was married to the late, great David Bowie. God rest his soul, rest in peace. And she was in the prime of her career. Like, again, she was Tyra Banks before there was Tyra Banks. She was getting into the movies, the television shows, the commercials. And she kind of was like, when they asked her about Tyra, she gave her honest opinion. She said she thinks Tyra is going to take it to the next level. She thought very highly of Tyra. In fact, when she would be invited to a lot of these modeling shows, I know because when I didn't have nothing to do and when you sit down and you hang out with your mom, my mom would turn to a lot of those television shows and she'd be on a lot of those modeling shows. And my mom would just point to me certain stuff. Like, this lady right here came in the game in the 80s and nobody's showing no respect. Like, they forgot she was kicking ass and taking names in the 80s and the 90s. It was like Tyra Banks showed up and they forgot about the ones that came before. I mean, even today, guys look at her exotic looks and her features, and most of us can't tell the difference. And she gets head on a lot. When they find out she's 50, they be like, you're not 50. You're not in your 50s. She be like, yes, I am. And they be like, you in your 50s and you look fine like this? Damn. So she has that natural grow. She has her natural hair because a lot of black men go on the internet and they complain about black women not having their natural hair. She has her natural hair, so yeah, that's why we mentioned her. That's a legend. That's an icon. I do the research. I make the video. Black women on the street will tell me if I did a good job or if I did a shitty-ass job. That's all there is to it. Coming in at number 6 is a girl named Kanda Ahmad. Now, this was a girl I kind of crushed on a bit. Now, I'm serious. Now, if I had a supermodel crush, if it was a black woman, it was her. She was mixed, half black, half Korean, you know, and she's from ATL. Now, that was somebody I saw in a lot of the movies and television shows of the 1990s and early 2000s. Everyone was trying to holler at this woman. Professional football players, basketball players, baseball players, actors. At one point in history, I don't know how true it is, so don't be going to these artists and asking the artists, did they date this chick? There were talks back in the day that Usher, was thinking about asking her out. Tyrese, she did pop up in some music videos. That's how I found out who she was. And she did Fashion Runway, and every guy crushed on her. I crushed on her. And my mom's like, "You're not even 18. Why you crushing on this girl?" I'm like, "She fine as hell. I mean, she black and Korean." Everyone was hollering. And when she got into the music videos, the movies, the TV shows, she was, why is it kept close? She was Zendaya before there was Zendaya. Like, if you look at Zendaya now and you look at her, it's like they're on. It was like the comparisons is obvious. She got into the movies, TV shows, the commercials. She was holding it down. Like, if anyone could compete with a lot of the women on this list, she was. She was kicking ass and taking names. She kind of came in after Tyra, and you could see Tyra getting ready to have to pass the torch, and you could see that she was coming in. At that time, she was tall, and she had a youthful look. No one had never seen a supermodel mixed and brought out the best features in both. She was beloved, which was, it's rare because back then, if you were mixed, that was taboo. And she broke that barrier of it's okay to be different, have a different, variety of beauty. She was Korean, but she was black. And she had the best of both worlds because she was accepted. Back then, if you were mixed, you were not going to be accepted. You just look at history, people. Coming in at number 5 is Grace Jones. I talked about Grace Jones in the last video. She's higher on this list because she came in around that same time period, okay? She was tall, like 6'1", 6'2". She was tall. And I only know of Grace Jones because she did a movie called Boomerang with Eddie Murphy in it. But she also was in Conan the Barbarian, because she was in those Conan movies, the James Bond movie, and I've said it. When you start doing movies like James Bond, Conan, you have arrived. And she popped up on a lot of those In Vogue magazines, like she did. Even when she got in her 40s and her 50s, she stayed in athletic shape. Watch what she eat, watch what she drank. And she was like by far the oldest model, and then she had an advanced rock career. And you see, it's a shame because when you hear them say black girls rock, how come you don't include her in that? She was the one who started that revolution, but they want to give it to somebody else and not the person who actually did it first. Like, she did it first, so she's multi-talented. So we got to put her at the list, Ray, because she's a legend. She's an icon. She saw all the girls that were, all the ones I mentioned, she's seen all of them. They look up to her for inspiration. She also had to deal with that period of being dark skinned, and she broke the barrier because, they always say we like the light skinned black women, we don't like the dark skinned black women, and that wouldn't be true because back in her heyday, guys was asking her out. Guys was asking Ahmed out. So all this nonsense about we supposedly don't like dark skinned black women is a bunch of hot air and bullshit. Yeah, when I was in high school, I was on that bullshit. And when I got into college, I was getting hit on by dark-skinned black women. So yeah, junior high, high school, the vast majority of the time it was light-skinned black girls. And then when I got into college and when I got a job, who started hitting on me more? The dark-skinned black women, and I would respond to that. So all of that, we don't like dark-skinned black women, that's a bunch of bullshit. Coming in at number 4 is Naomi Campbell. Yeah, that was like another girl I had a crush on. There was Naomi Campbell, there was Tyra Banks. They both were in their primes, okay? Naomi Campbell came like maybe 4 years earlier than Tyra Banks. And Everyone does that thing when you're playing basketball or football at the park. When you're at the gym, man, who's more fine, Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks? Man, who's more taller? That type of childish, petty shit we did back in the 90s and the 2000s. And she was in a lot of the movies, a lot of the music videos. Now, did she get surpassed? Yes. But she still can compete. So that's the thing. People seem to forget about her too. That's why we're mentioning her. She was in the game. She was holding it down for 10 years. She ain't no scrub. All right, coming in at number 3 is Tyra Banks. Now, this is my dad's all-time favorite crush because when he was like in his 20s, my dad would actually go stop at a magazine booth, before we had all the stores, and my dad would take him a magazine home. He wouldn't open it. He would just keep it stashed and just look at it. And my mom would laugh at him and go, "Why you got a magazine of Tyra Banks?" And my dad would go like, that's like every black man's crush, Tyra Banks. Everybody was crushing. And when my dad worked at the post office, my dad had met a friend that was rich. Can't tell you his name because it's against the rules to tell you somebody's name. It goes against their privacy and it's a form of disrespect. But dated Tyra Banks. And then strange and ironic, like 14 years later, I meet a music producer who passed away, who knew Tyra Banks' father, and I met the father. And they both kept laughing. I was like, "Why y'all guys laughing?" And like the dad was like, "He don't know who I am. He don't know who my daughter is." And like you seen all her movies and TV shows. You seen her on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You saw her in the Jamie Foxx show. And the music producer kept laughing and said, "You know whose car that's in the drive?" And I go, "Who?" That's Tyra Banks' car. And at first I thought they was just bullshit. I thought they was just lying. And when I got home, he still kept laughing at me because it took me almost a week for it to kick in. Because I didn't believe him at first. And when I did believe him, I was like, "Oh, shit." I told my mom about it. My mom was like, "You didn't know that? He live in Inglewood? You didn't know that?" Like, my mom knew it, but at that time I was into martial arts, weight training, fitness. I was into filmmaking, and you don't expect a music producer to pull a surprise on you like that. But it happened. But even I had a crush on Tyra Banks because, I saw her on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was tall, she was good looking, she was athletic, and when she popped up on Sports Illustrated, she did something that the rest of the ones that came before never did. And that's an impressive resume because she's done movies, television, producing, writing, directed a music video. That's a triple threat. And for her to appear on Sports Illustrated, you know you're good when you do Sports Illustrated. And then to have 2 shows. Who do you know has 2 damn shows? A Tyra Banks show, which, between me and you, her show was actually better than the Oprah Winfrey show. Don't go back and tell Oprah, because I don't want Oprah to be like, "What this boy say? What this young man has said? What?" Like, to me, I actually would watch her show more than I would watch Oprah. I mean, Tyra Banks did subjects that were fun and exciting. Like, she wasn't afraid to take on a new challenge instead of the same shit. And then the same week, America's Top Model. How do I know? Because my mom would drive me crazy with that show every day. Every day my mom would turn on the damn TV set and turn the TV way up loud. I'm like, "God damn." Couldn't even watch WWE because the volume be full blast. So that's how much of a big impact Tyra Banks has and still has. Coming in at number 2 is Zendaya, my newest crush. And I'm not just saying it because I saw the Spider-Man movies. I saw Zendaya before she did the Spider-Man films. Very physically, sexually attractive, and I would do what my dad did. Buy a magazine and don't tear the cover off of it. And when I had to do a college project, I would try to get the magazine so I could have Zendaya's picture, and this white girl beat me to the picture. I'm like, "God damn it. I was going to use it for my project so I can pass the class with an A." You don't believe me? It's well documented at Los Angeles City College. That's where Mark Hamill is from. Luke Skywalker, the Joker from the animated series of The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Clint Eastwood. Yeah. Morgan Freeman. I went to Los Angeles City College. Don't worry, I'm gonna make a complete, fully fledged video on why I like filmmaking, and you'll know why I like LA City College and UCLA College. Tyra Banks also liked UCLA College, but my point is Zendaya is like what Tyra Banks was back then. She's in the prime of her career, okay? And to me, she's got a bright future, and she'll be in multiple movie projects, and hands down, she's like the best model I've seen thus far. Coming in at number one is a woman whose name I can't pronounce, so please don't take it personal. A lot of these African names, Egyptian names, they're very hard to pronounce, and I might get them wrong, so don't be chasing me 15, 25 blocks down the street because I fucked up the name. It happens. We all make mistakes. I'm just human. Most YouTubers would never admit that they make a mistake. I make mistakes, and I own up to the mistake, so I apologize that it's a long, lengthy video, and I apologize if I mess up the name. I'm going to try my best to say it correct. If somebody come in the comment section and correct me, I'm not going to take it personal, because why? Sometimes I make mistakes in my videos, and I accept constructive criticism, good and bad. Coming in at number one is Adut. Now, she goes by two different names, because even the people can't even pronounce her name. Now, she's currently by far the best of the best. She's bald, and she's beautiful. Most women can't pull off the bald look. Like Grace Jones did it, Iman did it for a short period, but she pulls it off in great fashion. And I've seen some men in college date black women that's bald head. I mean, I made a YouTube video about it last year, but my point is, she's dark skinned, she's bald, and she's good looking, and a lot of guys be asking her out to lunch and dinner. And she dark skinned, so all of that, we don't like dark skinned black women, is bullshit. I mean, just because you see me go after for a black girl that's brown skinned or light skinned, don't mean I don't give dark skinned women a shot. Okay? Because if that was the case, I wouldn't talk to them on the street. When they be shotting me out, it be dark skinned black women. It ain't always light skinned. Every now and then you might see me get some attention, and it's like 50-50. And the reason why I say 50-50 for me is, to me, it's still black. See, now, if I dated another race, then you could get pissed off and go off. But to me, if you're brown skin, light skin, or brown skin, that's still black. It's still a black woman. So I don't understand the layers of motherfuckers saying, well, this shade is... It's still black, damn it. Now, if you date a preference, fine. Which, I'm going to make a video about that. That's a completely separated ass video. But the point of this video is nobody talks about the sexiest black supermodels, okay? So, I don't want no one to come to my channel and say you don't promote black women. I made plenty of videos. Plenty of them. It's either, I get accused of either you don't do it enough or you don't do it at all. And I do them. The question is, do people actually watch the videos? This was because I wanted to make this video. I wanted to wait until July, so I went with top 10. It could have been the top 15, top 20, but I was afraid that might be 2 hours, and don't nobody want to sit through a 45 to almost a 2-hour video, because it takes up too much time and energy, and y'all got bigger and better things to do. So until next time, peace.